I'm gonna teach you how to make my favorite gourmet meal at home for under £10. So today, guys, we're gonna be making steak frites. So we are in a cost of crisis living. We're gonna go cheap, under £10, all these ingredients, and it's actually very easy. So the first step we're gonna do, well, can I just say this is a bloody big potato, but we're gonna peel these potatoes and just create our frites. So fries, chips, whatever you wanna call them. So just peel your potato, and I mean, ordinarily we would fry these, but I'm actually going healthy today. I'm trying to lose the pounds, all right? Being in the food industry, it's hard out here. So we're gonna peel our potatoes and we're actually gonna air fry them instead of deep fry them in oil. And we're gonna keep this super simple. So I'm gonna cut these into fries shapes. Fries? I can't be saying that, I'm from the UK. We're gonna cut these into chip sizes. Have that, Americans. And we're gonna make our chips. So yeah, we're gonna do a simple coating with flour. I would use corn flour if you want a real crunch, but as I said, we're gonna go simple today in flour, salt, pepper, in the air fryer for about 20 minutes whilst we do our steak and our peppercorn sauce. So our potatoes are peeled. So a trick when you're cutting anything, obviously these are wham. So it's quite dangerous to kind of just start trying to chop. So you can see at the moment, it's very rough around the edges. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna snip off a little corner just so that we can lay it down flat like that. There's no risk of it moving. That will stay right there. I want them to be relatively thin just because we're not deep frying them, so they won't fry as much as they would in a deep fry oil, but by cutting them a little bit thinner, you're still able to get that crisp. And we're just gonna create our chips. So a nice slice down the middle, and there you have your fries, chips, potatoes, whatever you want to call them. And you can see, guys, this, I can't remember the exact price, but 2 potatoes, very cheap. You can get, that's 1 potato. You can get a good amount of chips. Right, so what we're gonna do now, before we add our flour, our seasoning, what's really important is we actually wash our potatoes. So potatoes have a lot of starch in them, and if you don't wash that starch out, again, it stops it from being as crispy. So we want to maximize every area of the cooking process to make it as crispy as possible. I'm just going to wash these in the sink. Oh, perfect. So you can see the starch. You can see how the water's cloudy here. You can see it a bit cloudy. The key is when you dip your hand in and the water runs clear, your potatoes are good and they're ready to coat. Really important next step, we dry our potatoes. So what you would do normally is you would dry them and you would freeze these overnight. I'm lazy, I'm trying to show you cheap, easy, cheerful recipes that really don't require a lot of effort and don't require you leaving the house but still getting that restaurant quality feel. You can treat your partner, you can treat someone in the family to a nice, lovely dish. So spread these out. And again, it's really important that these are bone dry. If they're wet when you add the flour, it's just not giving people. So get a good amount of kitchen roll, like so. And I actually just like to leave these for about 10 minutes with some kitchen roll on top, just to make sure we draw out all of that extra moisture. Perfect, so chips are now dry. We've just left them for about 10 minutes. Can I get them in one? No. Fuck you. Really simple. You can add whatever seasonings you like. I feel like everyone's got that preference. I'm a paprika, cayenne pepper, oregano, I'm not American, oregano type of guy. But honestly, sometimes the simple things are the best. So, I want to coat this flour. I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of flour. Okay, that's probably 2 tablespoons. Do it by eye because I'm a chef, apparently. Salt, you do want to go generous here. And black pepper. Like I said, for best results, deep frying, you will get a better result. And also freezing them. But again, we're keeping this really simple. Don't get flour on yourself. Don't make a mess. And he's done both. Also important as well that you strain off any excess flour. You don't want them drowning in the flour. So you can see here, look, a nice coating of flour, very simple. If you like spice, add spice. I'm not. So I'm gonna put these in the air fryer, watch them, because you know how air fryers cook stuff very aggressively. But I'm gonna do that for about, check them in 10 minutes, give them a little shake, probably another 10 to 15 minutes whilst we prep our steak and our peppercorn sauce. Right guys, so we're making peppercorn sauce, which I'll be brutally honest, I have made never. So I'm hoping that it goes well, but it's very simple. We've got our shallots, peppercorns, garlic, and that's really all the ingredients we need to prep. So as a first measure, for ease, a few peppercorns. Come on, I want it to be peppery, guys, so fresh black peppercorns always. And I'm gonna use the pestle and mortar just to really bash that together. You're not having fun if you're not making a mess. That's what I tell my mum anyway. But you do really want to get this fine because no one wants to taste a whole peppercorn in their mouth with the sauce. Another trick you can do for your peppercorns, if you're even lazier, you just put them on the chopping board and use your pan. I've got a hex cloud, so I'm not trying to damage that, but that's another way to crush your peppercorns. You can start to see they're coming together. Again, that for me is still too clumpy. I need it to be almost more of a dust. I was playing paddle today with Omar, Seps, Josh. I told them I played twice, and of course I smashed them. Well, I lost 6-0 in the last game, but I won the most points out of everyone there. Ask Omar, he was not happy. Back to the food, we are there. So, you can see our lovely peppercorns. So, once you've done that, you can just put that to the side. If you want to do a few extras, I would as well, because anything ground fresh is more fragrant. We could use that for our steak as well, for seasoning that. Why am I out of breath? I'm not that unfit. Garlic. So, as you guys know, I'm not a chef, so don't judge my knife skills, but we're not doing anything too crazy with the garlic. Just literally slices. Someone said something to me, which I'll never forget, and it's just let the knife do the work. Don't go too crazy, just let the knife do the work. We're definitely going for healthier recipes this year, guys. Healthier and cheaper as well. So like I said, this meal, under £10. We're gonna go for a medium rare. Hold me to it. I'm scared, guys, I'm scared. And you know I love garlic. One thing we're not using is brandy. So typically for a peppercorn sauce, you would use brandy. You get that nice, I don't know the correct terminology, it's like flamboyant, the flame. We're not doing that. We're keeping it cheap and cheerful, and I don't want to burn my house down. Garlic's done. Shallots, these are a bastard to cut, I'll be honest. But again, we're not doing anything too crazy to them. So this could be wrong, by the way. I'm talking like I know what I'm doing, but just go with it. So I like to take the end off, like so, cut in half. And I actually don't like, I always check that first layer to see, that's a good looking shallot. You sexy girl. I would normally take, if the layer looks a bit green or a little bit off, I would take that off. I take the core out as well, just the middle piece. So we're just getting the best flavor from our shallots. And again, we're gonna chop these not very finely. Again, you wanna taste them. I'm just gonna show you two. Literally, like a chef. And I do wanna taste that onion, which is why I've got a good amount. I'm gonna do, in total, 5. Right guys, so peppercorn sauce prep done. Shallots, garlic, peppercorn, wash, easy. Now for the main bad boy, our steak. Nice. The main thing about steak, when people tell you that it needs to be brought down to room temperature, they are in fact right. So whenever you get a steak, bring it back to room temperature. So I've left this out for about 40 minutes, and just as important, you pat down dry your steak. This steak cost me £3, and look at the marbling of that steak. It's a good steak. So you can get restaurant quality meals at home for less than half the price. I want to say just as good, but let's get to the end of the video to find out. Another trick I like to do with my steak, because I basically eat it every day, is when you're putting the salt on, if you go from a higher angle, you can actually just spread it a bit more evenly and make a lot more mess for you to tidy up. No, but it does work. So you can kind of spread it a little bit. And you want to go generous. So go generous on the salt. It looks like a lot, because it is, but it's also needed. I love pepper, so I'm going to go very heavy on the pepper. So you want to heavily season your steak. And one of the biggest things that you need to do, and I'm personally telling Josh this, you need to make sure that your steak goes in a piping hot pan. So remember that, kids, all right? Piping hot pan. And I don't want to hear, oh, the cow's still mooing. It's going to be medium rare. That's how restaurants serve it. That's how your boy's serving it. So just pat that in like that. And then I like to just make sure you get all of that seasoning off the chopping board. So going high again. A little bit of Salt Bay, exact same seasoning. I'm using this hand for my seasoning and this hand to pat the meat. Pepper, 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 pepper. And you can see for this steak, there's not like a fat cap that you would normally see on a sirloin. So when we render this in the pan, we can literally just slap this bad boy straight in. You don't need to kind of pan sear on the edge. It will just cook it very evenly. So let's go cook our steak. So how we're gonna cook this steak? So you really need to judge it on the thickness of the meat. And this is it's relatively thick. You can see here, if you've got a thin steak, you only need to do it for about 1.5 minutes on a really high heat, and then maybe another 1.5 minutes. Because this is quite thick, I'm gonna do 2 minutes, really high heat. I've got the oil on there now, really high heat. I'm gonna push that down so it hopefully stops the curving of the steak as well. So if you're a fancy chef, you've got some meat weights you could put on. I'm probably just gonna use my clean hand or a spatula just to push down on. We're gonna do 2 minutes on one side, flip, lower the heat to a medium, and then about 1.5 minutes baste with our butter, crushed garlic, and some thyme. Thyme for me is the best thing to baste steak with. I just think it's better than rosemary in my opinion. You can do both, but for me, I love thyme. It smells amazing. It's really important that we rest our steak for just as long as we cooked it. So I'm gonna rest it for about 5 minutes, loosely covered in foil, and then we're gonna chop that bad boy. So we're gonna use the same pan that we've cooked our steak in. It's actually really important that we do that because it contains all of that flavor. So we're just gonna add a bit more butter. Like I said, guys, never made this before, but watch, we're gonna get chef's kiss peppercorn sauce, hopefully. This is when I get that really aromatic pepper smell. So we're gonna add our peppercorns, mix that in. It's really important that you cook these for a good few minutes. You don't wanna burn them though. So we're now gonna go in with our shallots, give that a good mix. This is where some alcohol would be great to drink and to put in our sauce, but I'm gonna do it without alcohol. We're just gonna cook these down, and now I'm gonna add my garlic. And you're getting all that flavor from the steak. Make sure you do cook your garlic enough. No one wants raw garlic. So guys, we went for a medium rare. I mean, it looks good. We got that caramelization, that crust. It feels like a medium rare. If you touch it, that is medium rare. So I'm gonna slice it all before you can see and judge me. Perfect. And for those of you saying the cow is still mooing, it's not. This is just how you want a steak. If you went to a restaurant and asked for that medium rare, I'm very happy with that steak. Now back to our sauce before it burns. So we're now just gonna gradually whisk in our heavy cream. So just a little bit at a time, so you know the consistency that you're working with. Worcestershire sauce for a bit of zing. We're going heavy on it. These are my washed chives, so I'm gonna just chop these in a bit, but I'm just gonna leave them here, ready for us to chop. So this needs a bit more cream now, and to lower the heat down a lot. I would love to give you guys measurements, but I'm absolutely winging this. But it is important to add cold butter to emulsify. That is really good. Can't lie guys, this sauce is so good. I just want to drown everything in it. The fact that that cost under £10 is actually like, I've impressed myself today, I can't lie. For me, that steak is cooked restaurant quality. I've never done peppercorn sauce before. Now time for the ultimate test. The sauce. That's one of the best steaks I've done. This is the magician behind the camera, by the way, guys. I'm gonna get my videographer to give her honest, I want your honest opinion. You don't, I promise you, we're still gonna work, even if it...
It is good.
Yeah.
You made me hungry watching this.
Under £10.
That is impressive.
Come on, you got to have that big bite on. The Diddy one.
We filmed here.
Oh gosh. Why are you having that such a small bite?
All right.
All right, I'll let you on.
That was good.
Felicity's reacting. So guys, stop going out for restaurants. If you want more gourmet meals to learn how to cook at home, then let me know in the comments. I'll do more cheap and cheerful recipes